Okay, Dotloop training. Let's see. Share my screen. All right, let's see what we got going on. Let me get out of this and make sure I'm setting up the right the right thing. Okay, so there's a bunch of things that I learned about Dotloop that I think is very important to kind of like spread the word on. I've learned all kinds of shortcuts. I've learned better ways of doing things. I've learned less complicated ways of doing things. The first thing that I want to point out is I have my own team dashboard for Dotloop. So what does that mean? I'm an admin for all of my team members. I have my logo up here. I've got, if you click on people, you can see, oh, you can't see because I'm not in my admin profile. If I'm in my admin for Team TBG profile, which my assistant uses the admin profile. And if we click on people, over here, you can see my team members that are in here, okay? So in going back to my default profile, I'm just a regular person. I'm going to show you guys things that you have access to, some things I'll dive deep in on the platform that we have. Some are just some good Dotloop tips in general. The first thing is with my own dashboard, I was able to set up loop templates how I want it. So I'm just going to use, I was going to use actually my own address, but now that I think about it, I don't know who's going to watch this. So if I just use this address, this fake address, I was able to add my own team listing, or excuse me, my own team loop templates. These are the loop templates that the platform EXP Quad Cities overarching. These are the loop templates that anyone has access to. These are the loop templates that me and my team have access to. So if I was just going to start a listing with my own templates, I'd upload a photo of the house. I am like a real OCD freak. I love the photo of my house being on here, or whatever house I'm listing, because I'm just a very visual person. So the very first thing, if you want to make your life easier, is to go into view details and add all members of the transaction. So I'm just going to use one of my team members. Let's say he's my co-listing agent. Okay, I'm going to add him as a team member. I'm going to assign him the listing agent role, and I'm going to make sure I check this add to my team box. I was always wondering what add to my team meant, and what it means is if you invite them and they accept your invite, they can see every form, whether you've shared it with them or not, only in this loop. So be very, very careful about clicking add to my team. You don't want to add the agent on the opposite side of the deal. You don't want to add your clients. You're only adding people that you're comfortable seeing every damn form in that loop. So I'm the listing agent. Anthony is my co-list. Karen is my admin. Another thing that I did to set up these loop templates for myself and my team is I automatically have myself, Karen, and then the admin for Team TBG. I'm like pointing at my screen with my finger, like you can see where I'm pointing. I always, me and the admin, and then the Team TBG admin account are always automatically added to every loop. So the team members can start a loop, and since I'm on every single one of their transactions, I'm automatically imported into their loop. Now down here, if you want to make your life super, super easy. You will fill out as much of this information ahead of time as possible. When I get going in a transaction and I'm going to create an amendment to a purchase agreement, I open up that amendment and it says, what was the original contract date? And then I go back, get out of it, and I look into the fully executed purchase agreement and I find the original contract date. I go back into the amendment, I put it there. Then it's like, if I'm doing a price change, well, what was the price? What am I changing from to? I have to go back in there. So if you fill out all this stuff, chances are these forms are templated in a manner where it will just, import in all the information when you start a form. I'm going to add like a fake client as well. I'm going to add, I'm going to add a fake client. Let's do my other email. And it will be my seller. It will be my seller. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add them here. Now, I do not send an intro email ever. I just don't do it. I don't even know what the email says. What I do is I hold off on sending everything until it's all ready, and then I send it all, but I'll show you guys how I do that. Okay, so that's everything. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back into my loop. And here again, my loop template is going to look different from yours, whatever brokerage you're at, whatever dashboard you're on. All of our loop templates look different. So this is how I have mine set up, just because I'm a freak. The first column is for info. So remember, this is a listing. I want to see the old MLS sheet, any trust documents, powers of attorney, anything that they need here. The county assessor's info. This is the data sheet where people, where you fill out for what goes into the MLS. I have advertising here because it was a spot in SkySlope where if we were going to upload any advertising we do, but I actually never use it, and I honestly can go back and find any advertising I need. I do everything through Canva. I had another training on Canva. You can schedule it through social media. You can see all of your old designs, all kinds of stuff. CMA. So what I really like to have in my loop templates are a shitload of placeholders because it reminds me when I need forms. Okay, CMA and NetSheet. So here's all, this is all everything I call information. Okay, info. Now we've got a shitload of disclosures at hand. And where we're at, we need our agency disclosure, wiring fraud, business arrangement disclosure, trust account disclosures. If you're watching this and you're in Iowa or Illinois, we no longer need to do trust account disclosures. That is the latest and greatest information. That's gone, no more. Lead-based paint brochure, if applicable. Lead-based paint disclosure, if applicable. See, I like to have as many maybe docs showing as possible, because I can always archive documents, but I might not always think to add them. Okay, so lead-based paint if applicable, Iowa radon fact sheet, Iowa seller's disclosure, Illinois seller's disclosure, radon pamphlet Illinois, and radon disclosure Illinois. Like, so that is whether I'm in Iowa, I'll delete the Illinois stuff. If I'm in Illinois, I'll delete the Iowa stuff. That's how I chose to do mine, because it started to get so tedious where it was like Team TVG, Quad Cities, Iowa listing. I didn't want to have that many different loop templates because one of our team members is in Dubuque. That's in a completely different MLS. And so we already need a Team TBG QC listing, and we're going to need a Team TBG Dubuque listing. So we already need two different templates for regions that people are in. Okay, so you get the gist. I'm going to pretend for the sake of argument that this listing's in Iowa. So I'm going to get rid of the Illinois stuff. These are all the disclosures that I got to give them. And then obviously lead-based paint is if applicable, if built before 1978. All right, so listing docs. Here is the listing contract. And then I put the active MLS sheet in here as well when things go active. When we get an offer, an accepted offer, I have all of these placeholders that I'm going to want to see filled in if applicable, up to and including the closing documents down here. I added the final sold MLS sheet option in here because I really hope that I'm sharing my right screen, my correct screen, now that I think about it. Okay, so I added the sold MLS sheet here. And the reason why I did it is our current MLS, I don't know what region anybody's watching this from, but if you update your listing as sold past a certain time, so if you're late in marking it sold, you're going to get, like, basically I call it a red light camera ticket, where it's just an automated fine that comes through because the system knew based on the date that you entered that it closed. The system knew that you entered it late. You're going to get that red light camera ticket. For us, it's a fine of $50. So I have an assistant who marks my listings as sold, but one time even she got busy and didn't remember to do it. So now I have the sold MLS sheet line here in Dotloop, and that will hopefully remind all of us that needs to go there. And oh, did you mark it sold? Okay, so we've got our whole listing set up, and I always like to change the loop status, add all kinds of stuff like that. The property data sheet, I'm really not going to go into because everybody's MLS is different, and you should know how to fill out your own MLS paperwork. The point of this training with Dotloop is I want to show you some shortcuts that I do to fill things out, some shortcuts that I do to share documents and things like that. Now, here's where we're going to get into the beta. If you're already familiar with Dotloop, you kind of already get the gist of how we're set up here. By the way, down here, when people accept my team invite, it's going to say on my team. Okay, so I have team invitation sent to my team members, and on my team is when they accept the invitation. And I think you can always, like, yep, you can remove, you can do whatever you need to do. You still own the loop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the beta version, and disclaimer, this will be a shocking difference. Okay, Dotloop is definitely going to change, and I'm sorry, I'm like putting on chapstick, I'm like drinking my water, but it is dry as hell in here. Here is the new Dotloop beta view. Okay, some of the changes that they've made is here is what we're going to see: listing price, closing date, all that stuff on the top. And then you see documents, tasks, people, details, notes, activity log, which is obviously super handy, and notifications. Okay, so your tabs are up here now. Going back into documents, now here's something cool that I discovered. Going back into documents, let's say I filled out all the disclosures and I'm going to send them to my client. What I've always done is I've always done a video Okay, but in this video, I'm going to set up another thing so I can switch out of a tab, and I want to make sure that you guys can't see my actual transactions here. Oh shit, it's going to log me out. Hang on. All right, we're not going to worry about that. What I like to do is I do a whole video explanation of the paperwork, and I share my screen. Now, I used to Zoom people to share paperwork. Okay, here's my progression and Sandy going completely digital. I used to be, a rookie realtor, shaking hands. I would have them sit down in my little office and sit at the desk, and I would discuss the terms as I wrote the offer. And, it took a lot. There were things that you forget to talk about. There's things you forget to discuss. People are asking random questions the whole time through the offer. And it was like taking like 4 hours. It was insane. So then I graduated to, you know what? I'm not going to have people in my office while I write the offer. So it graduated to, I ask a few questions on terms ahead of time. And then I let them know up front. I'm like, I need to focus. I need to concentrate when I write this offer. You are 100% in control of all these terms. I'm going to write this offer, and then I'm going to explain the terms and the decisions that you need to make after the fact. So then I would meet with them via Zoom and we'd go over it. But Zoom still sucked because their kids are crying in the background, or they're, we're chopping up our shitty, choppy internet reception, or like everything goes wrong via Zoom. So I decided that wasn't even a good idea. What I do now, and I have this process so refined and streamlined, is I do a recording. It's custom to each client. It's custom every time I do it, but I do a recording where I walk through the paperwork, sharing my screen. And here is a few things that helps. Obviously, I save time because I record it on my own time. I send it to them. The client loves it because they watch it on their own time. They watch it after their kids are in bed or when they're not going to be distracted. I have evidence that I explained the paperwork to my clients. I love that. I have always wondered how I protect myself on "you never told me" or any of that stuff. That's how I do it. And then the added benefit is the client can go back. Things are a whirlwind if they're, if it's their first purchase or anything like that. They don't remember a lot of things that you tell them. They can always go back and check the video and just get their questions answered that way. All right. Now, here's the cool thing that I've discovered in beta. If you click this folder, so like the folder that right now I'm doing the disclosures folder that all of my disclosures are in, I click that folder, and when I'm walking these clients through the paperwork, I actually can just scroll all the way through all of the paperwork instead of, the old version, you have to back out of this paper, back into the next, out to that loop again, into the next form. And so I just absolutely love the fact that I can scroll all the way through here. And you guys, I'm going to feel like a super big dumbass if there was a way to do that in the regular version. If there is, definitely let me know, but I couldn't find it. So this is how I do it. Now, check this out. This is 36 pages. It's because the lead-based paint brochure takes up a shitload of it. So I'm going to pretend that we don't need to do lead-based paint. Let's just get rid of that. So you can move the docs around like that, by the way. I'm afraid to, oh yeah, I can. So archive that one doc. Okay. All right. So now I'm going back into the folder. Disclosures. I'm in the wrong folder. What the hell am I doing? All right, Sandy. Okay. I don't know why it's showing it like that. Oh, because it only has that highlighted. Hang on. Okay. Okay, back to disclosures. Okay, now we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so in here, why is it fucking doing that? It's going like in a different order now. So part of me testing this beta is for me to give them feedback, because now it's scrolling through in a different order than they're listed here. But normally, if I don't mess around and delete documents in the middle of what I'm trying to do, it's usually totally fine. I'm going to back out of the loop and see if I go back in and it's going to work. Okay. Let's see. Nope. All right. So I don't know why it does it this way, but it's doing a different order now. But I scroll through and I explain everything. Okay. Now we're at the seller's disclosure. I'm explaining that as I scroll through. I'm explaining all the points that I want to get across and tell them to slow down and make sure they're actually filling out the seller's disclosure. Same with lead-based paint. You know, I'm letting them know everything. And then radon fact sheet, you know, I have everybody initial that. Wiring fraud advisory notice. We actually have updated forms. I have to update my own forms, my team forms, but we have updated forms with the new logo. Right now, as of July 20th, you should be using a form that has the EXP logo, if you're with EXP, with the R on it, like the rights reserved or whatever that is, that R symbol, not the TM trademark. Okay, so that's super weird how it does that in a different order. I have no idea. That's like actually the first time that I've seen it, but I just love that I can scroll all the way through and do things that way. Another thing that I'm going to show you with Dotloop, with the new Dotloop, and this will blow your mind. Right now, I'm clicking on one document. And I'm in preview right now, which it'll pop up whenever my computer wants to not be an asshole. There we go. So I'm in preview mode, and that's what I use when I explain all the paperwork to my clients. But in editing, not editing access. If I weren't doing this via Zoom, I would have like paused this shit and like went around and figured it out. But now I'm just going to fumble around figuring it out right in front of you. So that's going to be awesome. Documents. Wonder how the hell. Oh, edit. Okay. It's the big button that says edit. So again, you're going to make your life so much easier. This should be templated to the seller. Mine is not. I need to get that corrected, but you'll make your life so much easier if your templated forms are pre-filled in slots that they need to be pre-filled on, and add the names that you had assigned the roles to, or yeah, add the roles of the names you have assigned automatically in here. Okay. So that's how you go in to edit your document. It's the big edit button. Now, what I was going to show you is I'm going to select this whole disclosures thing. Okay. And I'm going to go to share. Now here's a different thing. So I think it's going to be great once we can figure out how the fuck to use it. But honestly, what happens now is it's called signature routing. Okay, which I think is fucking awesome. So I can basically have the routing set up to where the client signs first. I can say, hey, blah, 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 thanks a lot, please sign. By the way, I heard that Dotloop now is going to text them that message as well. Like, you've got something new in your loop, here's the message with it, something like that. I'm gonna have to look more into it. So you can have this routing set up and it's really cool. And then down here, you can add another step. You can add a message to all parties or just private messages. And when fake client signs, Then it's going to get shared to Tony for him to sign. Then it'll get shared back to me for me to sign. Then it's complete. So I know that other signature platforms, I think, have been doing that for a while, but Dotloop, you can reorder, you can change things. I want to sign first. What am I doing? Oh, so you can put people inside people now. I don't even know what's going on. Anyway, you can route people. Leave it to Sandy. So why wouldn't I just want them all in here? All people in this step must complete their assigned action to move to the next step. Oh yeah, so they should all be in here. So it'll route it however I want it routed. Myself first, Tony next, fake client third. However you want to set it up, it's going to route it that way. Okay. Then you can add a new step like share with the lender, share with the attorney, whatever. You can add these steps to where it just starts routing it automatically after the thing's completed. So I'm going to show you a loop that I'm actually in where I used the routing, but I'm going to go over here again so that you can't see my screen until I get to what I want to show you. This is it. This is the one I used. Sorry. People are, there we go. So this is old Dotloop, but it's going to show complete after it completed its routing process. So I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to look and see what it looks like on the other version. Back into the beta view. I don't know how we're going to see complete and stuff like that, but oh, there it goes. See down here, route complete, route complete, route complete. So it, you know, in progress, who's it waiting on, things like that. So it is going to be a nightmare with people trying to figure this out. I consider myself a fairly techie person, and it's obviously a nightmare for me to figure it out. So there's that. But this is the beta view. I believe that I showed you everything that like is very specific to the beta process. Again, it might look completely different when they finally release it to everybody, but this is kind of what I've been playing with so far and how it looks. And I obviously have had a hell of a time figuring it out. Here it shows placeholders like this. If I'm going to be in preview mode of all of info folder, I can just click add document, or I can scroll past it because it's a placeholder. I can do whatever I want. So I wanted to show you guys that. Now, lastly, I want to show you guys some tips and shortcuts. I'll go back into my test 1, 2, 3. I want to show you some tips and shortcuts. I'm going to go back to standard view because we're all used to that. And I just wanted to show you a couple of things about filling forms out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test 3, 2, 1 purchase loop, just so you can kind of see a little bit of something different. We get it. That one was a listing. Let's do a purchase template. Again, your templates will look different than mine. These are what I decided to set up for my team members and myself to use. Okay, view loop. So I'm going to put my test buyer or my fake buyer in here, and I'm going to assign myself as an agent. So I'm here, and we're going to add person fake buyer. It's going to kill me if I have to look at that the whole time. Fake buyer, and we'll just do that email buyer add person. Again, I'm not adding anybody who's not on my team to my team. Okay, saving that, back into the loop, down to the bottom, make sure you've invited anybody who needs to be on your team. So I need to invite my assistant to this loop, okay? And then she will be able to see all of this. She'll be able to get into any doc, you know, so that's how that works. Okay, so for agency disclosure, not like all these disclosures, you know, we've got this set up and then we're just going to have it autofill. And we've got it autofilling everything here. Now here, I've actually been talking to Dotloop and they're going to change this feature. One of my issues has always been, I hate when it's like buyer sign here and there's only one buyer and then it has the buyer go through and they sign those two different slots. So I always have to grab this and either assign it to no one because it's fake buyer, assigned to buyers, fake buyer. So I either have to go to no one or I remove the field altogether so it doesn't get messed up. And then fake sign here, buying agent sign here. And then this one would be if we have a co-agent, I always add an extra field because usually we do with my team. I'm going to remove that field because I'm the only buyer's agent on this. Okay. So that is one weird thing I've noticed about Dotloop that has always occurred. And they are actually going to change this to where you can actually template the name to match the name. That is for the super nerdy, if you guys are following. But I want to show you something about, let's just say, we're going to look at a seller's disclosure. And I kind of want to pull like a super, actually, here's what I'm going to do. And my watch is telling me I'm a piece of shit and I need to stand. Okay. Cheers. I need a new chair, you guys. That's my dog having a bad day, apparently. Okay, so I added the seller's disclosure. By the way, you can also add documents this way. And then once it's added, you can drag it and have it replace your placeholder wherever the one is. So let's just pretend this is all filled out and I'm templating it for my buyers to sign. I've gotten super quick at it. So down here, we're gonna do initials and I'm like, again, we're representing the buyers. So I'm a total freak and I always like make the box match over the box. I'm going to assign that to fake buyer. And let's say I had an additional buyer. I'm going to press, I'm on a Mac. Okay. But if you're on a Mac versus a PC, over here to the right, you're going to see these fields that you can use to give yourself shortcuts and make your life easier. So what I'm doing is Command-Shift-C for copying that box and then V to paste that box. And I'm going to put it right next to it. Now, anything you highlight, you can highlight and copy both of those. So Command-Shift-C, and then I'm going down to the next page, Command-Shift-V and place the initials there. Same with signatures. Okay. So down here, now what I do, because I'm a rebel, you guys, I go over to the signature for the seller and I actually drag the box all the way down to the date too, because when somebody signs in Dotloop, actually I'm going to go down to the buyer because we represent the buyer. When somebody signs something in Dotloop, it automatically is date time stamped. So if I can stretch it across to the date or stretch it down to the date, I'm going to do that because it automatically date timestamps it. Let's say you have two buyers, Command-Shift-C and V. So a lot of people just never like got the copy paste thing down pat. So I wanted to show you guys that. And again, whatever you have highlighted is what's going to copy. So draw a box around those two if you want those copied, and you want to just template the size of the signature up here and assign that one to the seller or whatever you want to do. Okay. So that's what I like to do. Same with, I'll show you where else is my favorite form to do a whole bunch of copy pasting on, and that's LBP. Oh wait, I'm not going to show you LBP because then I'd have to import it again, but you get it. You can copy and paste a bunch of like your little boxes of initials. You can copy and paste text fields, like anything you want to do. Some people just don't know those shortcuts, and I like to make sure you know the shortcuts. Lastly, what I'm going to show you is, first of all, if you don't know, up here for the activity log, here's the activity log of everything that's been going on. Let's say I'm like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have edited that seller's property disclosure. I erased a bunch of signatures because I wanted to add one thing to it, and now I screwed up everything. You can go back and pull any old version of it. So now we don't have, you guys, it was supposed to be cooler than that. I'm gonna pull the old version, added the document. Hope it works. It you can usually pull the old version, I swear to God. It's not my day today, you guys. Okay, it does work. I'm not gonna even go there. I'm not even gonna get into it. The last thing I want to show you is at EXP, we have SkySlope. And a lot of other places have SkySlope too. I enter it really in the back door though. Getting in here over to SkySlope. This is how I access it, because for some reason when I just try to hit SkySlope, it's always like, we don't recognize you. So it's just me. It's not you, it's me. I just wanted to go into when we're doing a transaction. I just wanted to go into and show you if I'm setting something up within SkySlope, every file, I'm like, my brain is fried right now. Every file has its own email address. So when you have to share all of your forms into SkySlope, what I always do is I go back to view details, add person, first name Sky, last name Slope, Sky, Slope, Sky, Slope. And I usually just put admin or other, I mean, whatever, you have to assign a role, okay? So now we have all this paperwork fully executed, and we're gonna send it over into SkySlope. What you can do is you check whatever documents you wanna send over, you click share. We're not gonna share with our buyer, we're gonna share it with SkySlope, pretending it's fully executed. And do not forget, you're gonna click attach PDF to email, because if you send a link over, it's never going to register that. So attach the PDF to an email. I really don't want to share it over there because it's an active file that I have going on, but I guarantee you, just trust me, it works. If I share it, it will show up. I'll show you where it shows up. It shows up in documents here. And then you're going to just assign it. You're going to assign this, you know, you would click here and then you would assign it to where it needs to get assigned. Okay. Assign, unassign. That's how you do it. Let's call the whole thing off. So that's how I get documents over into SkySlope super easily. I think I've kind of like ran through a bunch of this. I have not, I will just go over a super basic thing for Dotloop, just in case you guys don't know what this exists. In templates, if you're adding a file. These are the templates, whatever templates you have access to, and you'll find whatever you want and you'll copy it into your loop. But also you can browse or drag and drop files here. And then email is my absolute favorite way to add something. This is your loop's email address, not to be confused with your SkySlope email address, but I'm always forwarding emails of, you know, invoices or whatever I get into my loop. So this is a rundown of Dotloop / a really painful tutorial of Dotloop data, and may God have mercy on our souls.